Polling booths and a train set alight, deadly clashes and a nationwide strike. The build-up to Sunday's vote in Bangladesh is dominated by violence. Around 150 people have died during the campaign. Vladimir Putin reverses a ban on demonstrations in the Winter Olympics venue of Sochi. Rallies will now be allowed after approval by security services, a decision praised by the Olympic Committee. And residents in the northeast of the United States begin to dig out after a winter storm that dumped nearly 60 centimetres of snow on some areas. At least 11 people are reported killed by the bitter cold. Hello, I'm Nadia Shabi. Thank you for watching France 24. With just hours to go before Sunday's election, Bangladesh is bracing for further violence. At least 100 people have been killed during the election campaign, and this Saturday saw more deadly clashes. Preparing to boycott the ballot, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party has called for a two-day general strike after the government refused to grant oversight of the poll to a neutral body. Joe Tandy reports.
In the Bangladeshi capital Dhaka, police line the roadsides, riot vehicles stand at the ready. The run-up to Sunday's general election has been marred by violence. In recent weeks, protesters both for and against the ruling Awami League party have clashed in the streets. The opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party say they'll boycott Sunday's poll, allowing Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina an almost unhindered run at re-election.
As a candidate, I urge you to vote for the boat symbol. Voting for the boat will allow me to support you.
Meanwhile, opposition activists have blockaded roads, forced schools and offices to close, and attacked people refusing to participate in strikes. All this after the government refused to place the poll under an independent overseer.
To avert this crisis, the election could have been held under the Election Commission, accepted by all parties and under a neutral person, like they were in the past.
The Bangladesh Nationalist Party say their leader Khaleda Zia was put under house arrest, claims the government denies. Analysts say many Bangladeshis are caught between angering opposition activists and forfeiting their vote.
The common people are in a horns of dilemma, is in danger, as a matter of fact. If they are damned if they go to the polling booth, they are damned if they don't. So their personal safety and security will be in danger.
The European Union, United States and the British Commonwealth have all refused to send observers, unconvinced, they say, of prospects of a fair election.
Well, meanwhile, anti-government demonstrators in Cambodia have called off a mass rally in the capital after a bloody police crackdown on Friday. Security forces shot down 4 garment workers who'd been demonstrating for a fair wage. Take a listen to opposition party leader Sam Rainsy.
We deplore and we condemn the violence that the armed force, under the instructions of the current government, have used against workers. So we have made an appeal to both sides, workers and armed forces, to withdraw, to stop using any forms of violence.
A senior security official in Iraq says the government has lost control of the city of Fallujah to al-Qaeda-linked fighters. On Friday night, the Iraqi army shelled the city with mortar bombs to try to wrest back control, but to no avail. Well, for days now, parts of the cities of Ramadi and Fallujah, west of Baghdad, have been held by militants, with snipers deployed on top of empty houses and government buildings so as to prevent the army from entering. Now, the official announcement comes after more than 100 people were killed on Friday in the two cities, making it the worst single day of violence in years. Voicing confidence, John Kerry says he is making progress towards nudging the Israelis and Palestinians toward a framework for peace. But the US Secretary of State admits that still more needs to be done. Well, Kerry is on his 10th official visit to the region as US diplomacy chief and has been in talks with leaders of both sides for 3 days now, meeting Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas this Saturday. Now, it's Vladimir Putin's pet project. The Winter Games in the Black Sea resort of Sochi are just a few weeks away. And faced with security concerns and human rights criticism, the Russian president is walking a fine line. This Saturday, as Putin attended a rehearsal of the opening ceremony, the Kremlin announced that it was amending a recent decree forbidding rallies in the city. Demonstrators will now be able to gather after receiving a green light from the authorities.
He's been filmed hang gliding, practicing judo and horse riding, among other pursuits. And on Friday, Vladimir Putin again showed off his action man credentials, this time on the slopes. The Russian president was in Sochi on the first day of an inspection visit to the city that's poised to host the Winter Olympic Games in just over 1 month. The 61-year-old donned a black ski suit alongside Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev to sample runs close to a complex that will be used for the downhill and biathlon competitions. Putin was also briefed near the ski jump venue. He infamously fired a senior official last year when construction there fell behind schedule. The two leaders also surprised athletes as they toured local hotels and interrogated them about the standards.
In general, everything is okay. Yes, there are sometimes details that I do not like about this hotel.
Please tell me.
I've told my coach. He knows.
Can't you tell us?
Sorry, I'm too shy.
Putin may look relaxed as he samples the après ski, but the fortunes of this $50 billion Olympic project will form a big part of his legacy. The build-up has already been marred by the criticism surrounding Russia's anti-gay laws, the jailing of activists, and within the last week, 2 suicide bomb attacks in Volgograd, 700 kilometres away. The International Olympic Committee, though, says it has every confidence in the Russian authorities to provide ample security for the fortnight-long event.
It's named Hercules, and with good reason. The cold weather front that slammed into the US's northeast is certainly strong and providing plenty of labour for all those caught up in it. With snowdrifts built up by Arctic winds of up to 105 kilometres per hour, the storm has caused chaos, closing major roads and airports and killing at least 11 people. Well, a little earlier we spoke to our New York correspondent, Jessica Le Masurier, who began by giving us an update on the situation.
The temperature is still well below freezing here in Manhattan, where I am. Right now it's minus 12 degrees centigrade, and snow still covers the rooftops and the parks here. There are still several centimetres of snow on the ground, but nothing compared to parts of the northeast of the United States, where there were up to 61 centimetres of snow.
And tell us about the effects of the storm so far.
Well, at least 11 people have died as a result of this bitterly cold weather across the northeast and the Midwest of the US. The roads are treacherous. Several people have died in car accidents. A 71-year-old woman suffering from Alzheimer's froze to death after she wandered away from her home in western New York. And the worker at a storage facility in Philadelphia died when a huge pile of salt fell on him. Now, New York's City Department of Homeless Services is in code blue at the moment. That means that they've doubled the number of vans patrolling the streets to find people who need shelter. The bad weather has, of course, led to about 4,000 flights being cancelled and many more delayed. The situation's a little better today, although airports are struggling to resume normal services. The snowplows were out in force on the streets, clearing the streets yesterday, and city workers spread salt all along the sidewalks. But it's still pretty slippery and treacherous, and people have been warned to stay at home. Now, the temperatures are expected to rise before they fall again, but we're expecting another Arctic blast over the next few days.
Now, according to his spokeswoman, Michael Schumacher remains in a critical but stable condition this Saturday. The news came as French investigators announced they were hoping to answer questions about the circumstances of Schumacher's skiing accident thanks to footage recorded by a helmet-mounted camera the champion was wearing when he fell.
A sombre celebration. Michael Schumacher's family were at his side on his 45th birthday, but the former F1 driver still lies in a coma, and questions about the crash that put him there are multiplying. Inquiries are now focused on a camera that was handed to police by Schumacher's relatives. Allegedly, the sports star was carrying it on him the day he fell on the ski slopes. Whether there are images on the camera of the accident and whether they're usable remains to be seen. Another point in question is Schumacher's speed at the time. According to authorities, he must have been skiing off-piste at high speed. But that's not what his manager says.
After everything the people told me, he was not even at high speed because it seemed that he had even helped a friend who just had fallen on the piste. So he started to ski again, went into the steep snow.
Another factor could be bad signage on the mountainside. This is the slope where the accident took place, and these are images taken by a German journalist who skied it. He found no demarcation between the piste and the dangerous rocky area, nor any indication that the area was dangerous. The responsibility of the ski station could therefore also be brought into inquiries, a crucial point in financial terms for Schumacher's insurers in the event of a future claim.
And that's where we leave this edition. Stay tuned to France 24.